The message that I have to share with you today, family, is entitled The Application of Knowledge. The application of knowledge. I'd like to begin this message by reading from the sacred text of the Hosea, from the particular book known as the oldest scriptures in the world. And that is the book of Ptah-hotep. On page 41 in the Hosea, section 1, it reads like this. Be not arrogant because of your knowledge. Now, believe it or not, I've already preached. That's it right there. Be not arrogant because of your knowledge. Or you can replace the word knowledge with these two words, acquired information. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as with the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field have never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet it is found among the women who gather at the grindstones. The application of knowledge. When I look at our condition as Africans living in America, it is almost impossible for me to separate the unique form of indoctrination into this global enslavement that we suffer. We've been colonized, and there is an ongoing exploitation of Africans in this capitalistic economy in which we live. We have been indoctrinated into the suppression of our own consciousness. Did y'all grab that? I want to take my time and I got so much heavy stuff I want to say. I want to say it slow so that you can chew on it as I'm saying. We have been indoctrinated into the suppression of our own consciousness. Our community is in a state of mental deprivation. Our community is in a state of spiritual deprivation. Our community is in a state of socio-economic deprivation. Then to top it off, there is the blinding propaganda of patriotism. Black folk who are out of their minds have a stupid kind of patriotism to a country and a government that cares absolutely nothing whatsoever about them. Come on with it. The media has played with our minds to the point to where as we think that it is a source of truth, when we need to understand that it is the vehicle of manipulation of the powers that be. What's really deep about it, y'all, is we have this confusion over a loyalty to an oppressor the reason why we have this loyalty is because we have been duped into thinking that the origin of racism was slavery. Y'all following me? We have literally been duped into thinking that racism began with slavery. Nothing can be farther from the truth. And you'd be surprised how many Europeans even think that racism began with slavery. Everybody say this: I must understand, say it, the cause of my predicament. Family, the understanding of cause is of utmost importance. If you don't understand the cause of a thing, you will never ever address it. Too many people scrape paint off of the ceiling in their house because it's peeling, and they paint over it. A few months later, they scrape it again and paint over it. A few months later, they scrape it again and paint over it, never stopping to think that there must be a cause to this paint that keeps peeling. Until you get up and fix the leak in the roof, you're going to always keep on scraping, peeling paint. Once you understand, family, that racism and cultural supremacy preceded the enslavement of Africans in the Americas, then you come to the fact that the only solution, everybody say the only solution. The only solution, brothers and sisters, for our predicament is for us to change the framework of the color hierarchies through which people have learned to judge one another. People have learned to screen one another as well as every other aspect in their world. You've got to change the framework that causes you to think the way you do. We got black folk who honestly operate within a framework that the lighter your skin, the better you are. Look at somebody near you and say, there's something wrong with that. We got to get rid of that kind of thinking. Without a working appreciation of our cultural and historical heritage to the historically demonstrated intent of others, we cannot remain competitive. We cannot remain operative in this society. We don't love ourselves like we're supposed to. We don't appreciate ourselves like we're supposed to. We have an appreciation for everybody else but us. Y'all heard about the recent doll test all over again? Where a young black child is given the opportunity to choose between a white doll and a black doll. And that black child chooses the white doll. Something's wrong with that. And then what's really deep is when the child is challenged, the child says the white doll is good. The black doll is bad. Then when the instructor asks the child, what color are you? the child went into cognitive dissonance and became unable or unwilling to answer the question. We must understand, family. Now, I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings today. I meant to say that at the top. For the sake of visitors, I don't mean no harm. But I don't pull punches over here at the African Village. Because I'm trying to set us free. I'm trying to wake us up. That's the problem now. We've been stroked to sleep. We've been comforted till we're sleeping to our own demise. So let me smack you today. I gotta wake you up. We must understand, family, that integration is the enemy of African unity. Did y'all hear what I said? Integration is the enemy of African unity. Why do you say that, Pastor Ray? Because integration requires that the integrating group be subsumed. I didn't say consumed. I said subsumed. Integration requires that the integrating group be weakened. Integration requires that the integrating group be scattered as a minority in a society where the majority rules. Integration, or the amalgamation of the races, I don't care how you want to say it, are exercises in fatalism and wishful thinking, and we're good at that. We're good at wishing the best. We live our lives wishing for the best. Cedric told us how we like to wish. Cedric the entertainer, he said black folk are those folk that say, I wish I would sit in my seat. We are a wishing kind of people. Why is integration bad? Follow this very carefully, people. Integration is bad because, and just look back at history. Let history testify for me today. There has never been a time in the history of the human race where the slave masters or the oppressors of one group ever voluntarily let the other group have equal opportunity. Think about it. Well, the Lord wants us all to be one. The people who say that don't mean that. What they mean is the Lord wants you black folk to be subsumed into the program of the European mind. Brothers and sisters, for the sake of our empowerment and for the sake of our liberation, we must stop. Yeah, can I be free now? Okay. All right. We must stop confusing intellectual masturbation with African consciousness. Did y'all grab that? Let me say it again. We've got to stop confusing intellectual masturbation with African consciousness. Now, what do you mean, Pastor Ray, when you say intellectual masturbation? You've heard me say that before, but I never defined it for you. So that we're clear today, let me define what I mean. Intellectual masturbation is what I call the Western or the European concept of consciousness. You see, the European concept of consciousness embraces and advocates intellectualization for the sake of rationalizing despiritualized concepts. Did y'all get that? Let me say it another way for you. Intellectual masturbation is really about expressing acquired information just so that you will sound like you got it together. But in reality, you ain't got nothing together. That's what intellectual masturbation is. We got folk walking around with all this information up here. All these books up under their arm. But their life is absolutely powerless. Non-productive. They are an insult to the African community. There's nothing as bad, y'all. There's nothing as bad as for you to look like you got it together. And then when you open your mouth, you are a complete disappointment to everybody. So now, what is consciousness? Consciousness is a state of mind. That's what consciousness is. It is a state of mind. It is an evolution in your thinking to the point to where you have the power to actualize your testimony. Let me say it again. I'll say it first this way. If you can't actualize your testimony, you ain't doing nothing but talking loud and saying nothing. If you cannot actualize what you say you're about, you ain't able to do a thing. If you can't actualize your testimony, you can't help the community. I think you need to preach that to your neighbor. Say, if you can't actualize your testimony, you can't help our community. I'm tired of seeing folk running their mouth. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I'm serious. As my teacher and our ancestor warrior, Dr. John Henrik Clark said it, he said, I'm weary of black people with their so-called knowledge. I'm weary of folk running their mouth and don't do anything. The scribes of our ancient African past, the scholars, the griots of our ancient African traditional greatness pursued knowledge. But they did not pursue knowledge for self-grandeur. They pursued knowledge to enhance the life of the community. Everything that they researched, all of the energy that they put into acquiring right knowledge was for the benefit of the community. Not for egotistical opportunities. And for millennia, the principles of Ma'at governed their behavior. Therefore, from an African-centered perspective, we must understand that information itself, by default, must be actualized. There must be an acting out of awareness, gained through the study, or there is no true consciousness. When I say the application of knowledge, I mean, let me see what you've learned. Now, don't let me hear what you've learned. Let me see what you've learned. Now, actually, y'all, what I'm saying to you, I heard this as a child in the Church of God in Christ. See, sometimes we throw our African spirituality away like everything that's in the church wrong. No. The principle that I was taught as a child in the Pentecostal church was this: be ye doers of the word, not just hearers only. Can I get a witness? That's what they taught us. Stop running your mouth. Do it. Stop it trying to impress folk. Just do it. Ain't there thing said just do it? Nike? Nike, just do it. Everybody say the need for correcting cultural education. I got to touch on this before I close. Due to the severity of menticide among our people. Now, how many of y'all know what menticide is? All right, I don't see any hands hardly. Okay, let me help. How many of y'all know what homicide is? All right, that's when you kill another human being, right? All right. How many know what fratricide is? That's when you kill a brother, right? Okay, how many know what suicide is? All right, maybe hear straight up. That's when you kill yourself, right? Well, so you'll understand, family, menticide has to do with the killing of the mind. We suffer from a severe case of menticide. And it must be realized and accepted that empowerment through enlightenment will not be accomplished during this generation. Let me say it again. Empowerment through enlightenment will not be accomplished in this generation for us as a people as a whole. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. It might not happen for the next few generations. Brother Ray, what are you saying? Are you saying that there's no hope? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you need to be realistic in your thinking. Brothers and sisters, you just heard this, brother. How many years did you say, brother? For 453 years? For 453 years, we have been misled. Actually, that's since being in this country. We've actually been misled over 2,000 years. Since the European invasions of Africa in 332 BC. We have been misled for millennia. Don't you think for one moment that because you have learned a little bit, that you are going to walk out of here and reverse what has taken hundreds of years, a couple of thousand years to create. But look at the person nearest you and say, but we got to start somewhere. It's got to start right now with you. You have got to become an agent, a vessel, a voice in the wilderness of ignorance. You've got to open your mouth. Like I was taught in the church. Cry loud. Spare not. Lift up your voice like a trumpet in Zion and show my people their transgression. Now we got that all turned around. We think that means show my people that they're drinking too much. That's not the transgression, family. Show my people that they're staying out too late at night. That's not the transgression. The transgression of our people is turning away from who we are. The transgression of our people is taking on a belief system that is against us, the transgression of our people, is loving an enemy. That taught you to pray for him instead of whipping his behind. Think with me, family. Think with me. What better method of security for the enemy than for the enemy to put it in a book? Love your enemies. Pray for them that would mistreat you. When the very person who's mistreating you is the one who told you to pray for those who mistreat you. Look at somebody next to you and say, you better wake up. Realizing the struggle is the motivational force behind the African genius. You have to realize you're at war, family. It ain't just going to come to you. You got to wake up and get involved. You got to wake up and understand that there's a power out here that don't want your child to grow up. You got to wake up and understand that there's nobody that's going to stop this power but you. Come on, man. If somebody's trying to break in your house and destroy your family, what you going to do? Say, praise the Lord. I don't think so. You, with all your praise the Lord, you're going to find a bat, a stick, or something. You're going to find something to bust somebody's head open. Can I get a witness? Well, let me tell you, someone is breaking into our house. Someone has already broken into our house. They're raping our women. They're turning out our children. Yeah, buddy. And we still asking the Lord to come do something about it. God is speaking to you, saying, don't ask me to come do something, you do something. God is saying, I ain't got no hands but yours. I ain't got no feet but yours. So if a foot is going to be put somewhere, you need to start putting your foot there. Oh, yeah. Y'all all right? Don't get me wrong. I ain't preaching violence. I'm a non-violent kind of a guy. Until I see you trying to hurt me. Once I see you trying to hurt me, you're behind in trouble. Yeah, buddy. I can't stand there and let you hurt my kids. I can't stand there and let you hurt our women. You follow me? I don't care what color you are. I can't stand there and let you hurt the family. You got me? We got to get busy, family. There's a need for culture correcting education. I just told y'all it's going to take a few generations to correct the messed up mentality among our people. Therefore, we must understand that hear me now, no permanent empowerment can take place until we implement an educational program that will successfully increase the level of consciousness from one generation to the next. Now notice how I said that. I said no permanent empowerment. We experience 5 minutes of power and think we've arrived. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Simply because we've had a good day or because things went well for us this week. We think that we have arrived. That is not permanent empowerment. In fact, that you might have just got a good night's sleep. Somebody might have walked up to you and asked you out on a date. And you think that we're on our way to victory as a people. Because you ain't been out in a while. Okay. Go. I just felt something. Look back at him and say, it might be permanent problems though. Never know. We can never correct this cycle of menticide without properly educating our young people. Did y'all hear what I said? And then not only them, we must properly educate their children. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. And I've often used this analogy in referring to the individual when making their transition from religion to African consciousness. But now I want this example to apply to our liberation. Suppose I have a glass with dirty water in it. And this water represents our menticide. It would be fatal for us to dump the dirty water out of the glass. Because then we would be mindless. You follow what I'm saying? And a mindless individual is just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than a person with a mind that's dead. So what should we do? The glass represents the community of the black collective. What we need to do, family, is see to it that we take the glass of the African diaspora and put it up underneath a steady stream of water coming out of the faucet of Ma'at. Follow what I'm saying? And let that clean water go into the glass until the dirty water, which represents our menticide, begins to dilute and dilute and dilute and dilute, and eventually we will be healed as a people. But again, that is not going to happen in this generation. Understand what I'm saying to you. I will be dead when what I'm talking about happens to us on a collective. But it's got to start. When are we going to ever put the water up under the faucet? The glass up under the faucet? When are we going to ever do it? If we don't do it now. Our children need us. Any attempt, hear what I'm saying, and I hope I'm not sounding defeatist, but I'm trying to sound realistic. Any attempt for the liberation and empowerment of our people will fail unless we have the participation of black men and black women who are consciously about the business of ensuring the right environment for our children. Did y'all get it? See, some things I need to know that you got it. And that's why I repeat some things. Let me say it another way. If we ain't serious, okay? If we just up here running our mouths, going through the form of coming to the village, one more time, he allowed, he allowed, he allowed. If that's all you about, everything we're doing will fail. Until we, black men and black women, organize ourselves and put something in place that will provide the proper environment for our children. If that doesn't happen, what we're doing will fail. Our black women, and black men cannot do what I just said until we properly educate ourselves. Follow what I'm saying? Steve Coakley, awesome warrior scholar brother, who really tells it like it is. Steve said this: I'll know when you got right knowledge because it will be manifested in your actions. You got me? If you don't have right knowledge, if you don't have liberation consciousness, you will continue to look good. You will continue to impress others. But your child will die. Where's that passage in Hosea? Who got their Bible? Hosea, what is it? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. What is that passage? Hosea 4 and 6. Read it for me, Sister Karen, please, real quick. I want you, see, we focus on just that verse. I want y'all to hear something here.
My people are destroyed.
My people are destroyed, or my people are dying
For lack of knowledge.
because they're ignorant. Go ahead.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Check this now.
I will.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I sent knowledge. That's the thing I like about the Creator. The Creator is never ever going to allow us to go without the opportunity of reception. That's right. The Creator is going to send you a messenger. You can count on it. I'm not the first one to come along, and I'm not going to be the last one. I'm just one of many messengers that the Creator sends for us to stop being ignorant. But when the Creator sends messengers, guess what we do? We reject the message. We reject the knowledge that's coming to us. So it says, because you have rejected knowledge, what does it go on to say, sister?
I will also reject thee.
I will reject you. Go ahead.
That thou shalt be no priest to me.
Oh my God. You're supposed to be in the position to heal my people. But you've rejected knowledge. So I'm going to make you an enemy to yourself. Man. Go ahead, sister. What else to say?
Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God.
Check this out now. Seeing that you have forgotten, you have chosen to forget who you are. You have chosen to forget the way of your ancestors, and you've taken on a way from Europe, from Italy, from Rome. You've chosen to take on a way that is anti-black. Because you've chosen, because you have refused to remember, what is it going to say?
I will also forget thy children.
Wow. I will also forget thy children. Now that sounds kind of cruel on God's part, doesn't it? It sounds kind of cruel that God would say, because you have forgotten the law of your ancestors and the laws of your ways, I will also forget your children. Brothers and sisters, who is God? I know some of y'all ain't got a problem grabbing that. See, I told you we got to get there. We got to stop looking out there. Okay? We got to start looking in here. We got to start praying or thinking in here. God says supposedly in this verse, because you have forgotten God, maybe I should say this, because you have forgotten who God is, you will lose the ability to be God in your life. Y'all ain't grabbing this. Y'all ain't grabbing this. adversary, when the adversary attacks you and your home and your family and your children and your finances, you will be defenseless because you're depending on a lie to save you. Y'all all right? Brothers and sisters, in African cultural consciousness, struggle, follow this now, struggle has always been viewed as a good and necessary part of life. And not something to be feared, not something to be abhorred. Our ancestors were quite aware, and notice how it says in the ancient African proverb, limited struggle produces limited people. Limited struggle produces limited people. What is it that makes you strong? Pressure. Struggle. I may have told you about the story with the man who had a stone in the back of his house, giant stone. I don't know if I've told y'all about that. For those who haven't heard it, here's how it goes. This man went and bought a house one day, and he was riding down the street, and this is, of course, a story now. Learn the lesson in the story. Riding down the street, and the Spirit of God spoke to him and said, buy that house. Saw a for sale sign on it. So the Spirit said, buy that house. And so he bought the house. And then after he bought the house, he went out back, and there was this big stone right outside the back door. And he said, God, why would you have me buy a house with this big stone at the back door? So God said, push against the stone. The man said, what? Push against the stone. It's okay. So the man got out there and started pushing. And he's just pushing against the stone, man. You know, he pushed and the stone ain't moving. God, the stone ain't moving. Keep on pushing. So he went around the other side. God, this stone ain't moving, man. Just keep pushing. All right, God, because you said so. And this went on for about 3 weeks. And then the dude said, God, I ain't pushing no more. You told me to push and move this stone, and I ain't moving. God said to him, I didn't tell you to move it. I told you to push against it. Now, God, why would you just have me push against a stone and it ain't moving? God spoke back to him. I didn't intend for the stone to move. I knew the stone was there when I told you to buy this house. The reason why I had you push against the stone was to make you stronger. Look at your arms. They're bigger because you've been pushing against that stone. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times we got a stone in our lives. Circumstances, situations in our lives, and we're trying to push to get the thing going, and it's there to make you stronger, not for you to move it. Am I clear? You gotta have struggle, man. Struggle tempers a man or a woman for even more difficult challenges. A lot of people don't want no trouble. Look at the person nearest you and say, if you avoid adversity, it will only weaken you. Let me say it again. If you avoid adversity, it will only weaken you. Are y'all grabbing this? See, I know we don't want to go through nothing. We don't want to go through nothing. And that's why you can't take nothing. As soon as you hear something, you want to, yeah. You know, you got to get to the point, man, to where whatever comes your way, you say, all right, God is. When you grow to that point, you realize that a mountaintop ain't really a mountaintop. You realize that a valley ain't really a valley. Whatever point you are on the level, if it's up here or down here, it's where you're supposed to be at that time. Okay, y'all, you got this? So don't get happy when you up here. Stay cool. Because tomorrow you're going to be down here. See, and that's the thing. If you learn to stay cool, no matter where you are, you'll be all right. Okay? But if you start up here, hey, I'm on the mountaintop day. I'm in the valley now. That's how your life is going to be. Up and down, up and down, up and down. After a while, you realize that it's just life. So, family, stand up. Be strong. Hold your African head up. Walk tall. When I was in the Marines, we used to march and do drill. And drill instructor used to say, lean back and strut. Any Marines in there know what I'm talking about? There you go, brother. When we used to march, you know, I mean, and man, you ain't walk like this. No, that wasn't it. When you marched, brother, you stood back, shoulders back. And when you march, that's how you march. Lean back and strut. Pick them up, put them down. No matter what's coming at you, you walk a certain way. Walk tall. Walk proud. Because you are a black warrior. Male or female. You are a black warrior. You're aware of your LOS in the army of the Lord. That's why our folk would sing, I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. You hear what I'm saying? Got my war clothes on in the army. Some of y'all woke up and started singing. Oh, I tell you, boy, it's amazing how that happens to me. God has chosen us. Our ancestors are guiding us. And our children are counting on us. Ashe. Yeah.